Going to call Mr. Oh no, before we go to the, I've been asked several times if the presentations will be made available, and the answer is yes. So today's presentation will be made available on the SESAR Joint Undertaking website in the coming days. Be a bit patient with us. So you will be able to find everything on the SESAR Joint Undertaking website. You know as well that we still have our Slido virtual Q&A room opened, and the QR code is put on that slide for you to scan it. I can give you the access code as well, so it's 2244911, like the emergency number, so 2244911. And we count on you to continue and feed questions to the different speakers who you would have seen are actually responding in writing. So it's not like you're sending them in the void. There will someone on the other side responding to your questions. Thank you very much for taking your seats. So now that this logistics announcement has been made, it's my pleasure to call on stage Mr. Giovanni Riccardi, Air Traffic Management and U-space Researcher at ENAV, and later on Mr. Edoardo Fornaciari, Researcher and Business Development at D-Flight, who are going to share the Italian U-space experience. Please join me in welcoming them.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Today with my colleague Edoardo, we'll tell you a story. I know that people like stories, so I can start with Once Upon a Time, 3 years ago, with the story of the Italian cluster. So, Italian cluster, who we are. Many people, many systems, many locations, let me say. Italian cluster is an ecosystem, so it was built to contain inside everything was needed to deploy the U-space services and, let me say, a little tip, also the U-space in Italy during the frame of U-ELCOME project. So it was made by several companies, made by people, air navigation service provider, U-space service providers, industry, US operators, test centers, R&D people, and also standardization regulation, as well as airport operators. So we try to build an ecosystem to execute demonstration in real environment, testing the U-space, demonstrating the U-space services objective of U-ELCOME. We identified on the Italian territory from north to the south 33 different operational sites for different kind of operation in urban, suburban, rural environment, and let me add in airport environment, because in this cluster we also demonstrated US operation in a complex environment like an airport like Malpensa. For this reason we had the participation of SEA with the sandbox airport environment of Milano Varese. And inside we had also an operator that performed a real operation for, let me say, for business oriented, like TechnoSky that performed inside the cluster operation of communication, navigation and surveillance inspection powered by the U-space services. We use different kind of drones from the small ones, 250 grams, up to the Nuva aircraft of 1,400 kilos, and very strong participation of external stakeholders like the Italian Civil Aviation Authority, ENAC, that supported us in every authorization aspect, as well as also in some certification that I will show you after. A very strong contribution also of external stakeholder, because the aim of the Italian cluster was to, let me say, publish in Italy the activities of a U-ELCOME project, and this was an attractor for external stakeholders that heard about U-ELCOME and asked to participate in our demonstration. For these reasons, many operators, not part of the project, but considered external stakeholders like civil protection and other operators, joined to this cluster for activities, as well as hospitals, municipalities that supported us in execution of operation in urban environment. This is the general architecture of the cluster. So just to know that we have several partners with different, of course, background and operations and activities. We had an architecture with common information service and common information service provider, and one U-space service provider in Italian cluster, but we also performed activities with other clusters like the Spanish cluster. So we had also the opportunity to test the interoperability with other U-space service provider. Participation of drone operators, as you know, as like also the general aviation, that was very interesting to involve them for the inconspicuity aspect and also application of a process of dynamic airspace reconfiguration. This is the validation path. So starting from the beginning of the project in 2023 up to the activities of 2025. Of course, we started in the first phase of the project with the integration of all systems. My colleague Edoardo, of course, have dedicated slides related to the systems involved, the interoperability that we created between these systems and U-space services. And also we started with demonstration. During the project in 2024, the flight got also the certification, first in Europe, as a common information service provider. And we started to develop the first U-space airspace in Italy. Then, of course, I have a dedicated slide regarding this process, but just to know that this was a process that was, of course, made by different milestones, like also a deployment of a sandbox about U-space. We performed airspace risk assessment. We certified also the flight as a U-space service provider, again, first in Europe. And of course, we performed several flights in different locations, as I told you, different 33 more or less. U-space in Italy. This is a dedicated slide because it's a very important milestone that we acquired during this project. And I think it's the demonstration that SESAR can contribute to something that is real, that is digitalization of the sky. And during the process, during the demonstrations and integration of the U-ELCOME project, the flight got the certification as a U-space service provider and common information service provider in Italy, endorsed by civil aviation authorities, of course. And during the project, we also performed activity-related airspace risk assessment of a dedicated U-space airspace that is near to full publication by the end of November. We started with the creation of a Romeo area, so called R700, so a restricted area that was the first embryo of U-space, with rules of U-space airspace. It was published in aviation publication in Italy, then was, let me say, evolved in U-space sandbox because ARA process, of course, was continued. And we can say that if someone asks us, do you have U-space in Italy? Yes, we have U-space in Italy, thanks to activities that we performed and also thanks to U-ELCOME project. Of course, we are just waiting for the last stamp for Italian civil aviation authorities because we are submitted the last version of ARA. And of course, we just have a demand of operators to fly inside U-space airspace. And this could be just used as a demonstration that U-space airspace is an enabler of operation, is an attractor. So I think that people that sees that there is a U-space somewhere that wants to have to fly inside, to perform their business inside, because they know that in space airspace, there are safety levels, there are digitalized services that can help them to better perform their activities. This is a feedback that we had from the pilots and operators in this project. Demonstration. We performed in the 3 years in the demonstration campaign more than 230 flights in different conditions, VLOS, BVLOS, from north to the south, 7 regions involved with different kinds, as I said, of operational environment. you can see some picture here that show the flight that we performed with the NUVA, with the controlled ground station that was integrated with the U-space service provider, as well as operation in Malpensa airport environment, where we performed with TechnoSky more than 25 flights operation during the night for small parcel delivery from the airport terminal to the logistic operators which are placed in the nearby of the airport. Same for the medical parcel delivery that we performed from Milano Malpensa airport to the city center and hospital of Varese. This gave us the opportunity, of course, to demonstrate the U-space airspace services, as well as the coordination with the authorities and the air navigation service provider that managed, of course, the controlled airspace of Milano. In addition, of course, we also performed any other activities, and for these reasons, I also have here a snapshot more in detail. But anyway, as I said, we performed also then 50 operations also with civil protection for search and rescue, and the usage of U-space services also useful to coordinate these operations, because for example, thanks to the traffic information service, each operator, each pilot knows the situational awareness about other drones were operating in a nearby. So for search and rescue is a very, very important matter. Then I don't want to enter in detail of each single diagrams, but this is a very important slide to underline that we got many data, numbers, and not only, because we got qualitative and quantitative data. Quantitative data from the platforms like USSP, CHISP, UTM box, GCS, and drones used. But second way, and not less important, the qualitative data from people. So human in the loop is fundamental for this kind of operations. We assessed the safety and human performance through dedicated questionnaires in order to understand if operators and pilots that will be the customer of the space services will appreciate them or not, and which are the suggestions for them to change or to integrate elements inside. So this was very important for us because thanks to the work performed also by Victor from WP3, collected many quantitative and qualitative data from 3 clusters in order to create a very, let me say, interesting demonstration report, and I hope that every people in this room can read the document at the end of the project. Because with these numbers, we could provide tangible output and input also from the regulation bodies for the civil aviation authorities, and also for the process of standardization, regulation, and updates, let me say, of rules and standards. Because as we said in Italy, carta canta. So when we have the numbers, you have something that is tangible that can be used. Now, I have 3 videos that show you something that we performed in Italy. The first one is related to medical parcel delivery in airport environment, okay, that was performed in the Milano Malpensa Varese, connecting let me say, the airport with the hospital in the city. Operation performed by Telespazio and also SEA with the U-space services of the flight. Can we start the video? Okay, I can talk. So this was Yes, of course, I can sing. Italian song, if you want. This was a multi-purpose operation because we used the fixed in eVTOL for the first part of operation from airport to the roof of the hospital. Then the package was, let me say, uploaded on the other drones. This is an example of a rotary aircraft with the capsule that bring medical parcel, and was then transported for small 2 kilometers from an hospital to another hospital. So it was a big operation, then more operation in the area of the hospital. Can we go to, yes, no? Next one, this is a related precision agriculture with the participation of also of many farmers in this project, in this Italian cluster, when we demonstrated the usage of the services also in this kind of environment. It was a double operation. First, we had the first small drone that performed the first, let me say, scan of the area. Then the data was used for the second operation with the bigger drone for the spray of the phytopharmacs on the vineyards. We also performed the noise assessment during many operations that we performed thanks to CINEA, that placed the sensors on the ground to acquire and assess the noise of drones in order to create models, of course, for all the whole operation, so from the start to the end. And of course, all data were used for the demonstration report for assessment of noise key performance area. This is an example of a multi-USSP, so performed still in Italy, with the connection of two different U-space service providers, the Italian one, D-Flight, and the Spanish one, Dalia, from ITG, connected to the D-Flight Common Information Service provider. Of course, we demonstrated all the relevant U-space services of U-ELCOME, like flight authorization, conformance monitoring, network remote identification, but in this case, we also demonstrated the dynamic space reconfiguration, since that we had the participation of a general aviation aircraft that needed to enter inside U-space airspace. And you can see on this video all the process, from the asking of the pilot from entering, activation, deactivation of U-space, and notifications sent to the users. We created two different U-space airspaces, each one managed by one of the two U-space service providers with the drone operator, with drone operations inside. As you can see, the DAR manager from Common Information Service platform deactivate the U-spaces, and the warning message is digitally exchanged from the platform to the users. So now the two U-spaces are closed, and general aviation can enter inside. When the operation is finished, the DAR is deactivated, let me say, and the two U-space airspace are activated again. They became green, and the drones can restart their operation. All flight authorization pending can now be activated. And also here we performed the noise assessment of operations. Okay. So there was, we have many videos, but we try to just to mention something very tangible of application of U-space services in different kind of operation and situations in operational environment, different operational environment. Now I pass the floor to my colleague Edoardo that will provide an overview of the technical aspects of the services and platforms and interoperability created. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Giovanni, for your leadership in the Italian cluster, and thank you all, of course, because U-ELCOME was a great opportunity for all the partners, for the ENAF group, in particular for the flight which I represent here. So what you have seen, just let me say the tip, the surface of the iceberg of the work that we have done in these years. Of course, we have seen just 3 videos, but we are talking about more than 230 real flights, more data. We are talking about at least 300 flight authorizations submitted. So it was a very challenging ecosystem. So this is just a recap of U-space technical environment conducted in the Italian cluster. We start from the platforms. We have the DUSS and the DCs. They are very simple to understand what they've done. We have the platform for the U-space services from the flight suite and the platform for the common information service. In the last year, we integrated also the Dahlia USSP platform in our demonstration. Different technologies. We have the UTM box from top view. Where is Francesco from top view? Okay. And we use this box, of course, to share the position, the identification of the UAS with just a box that is 40 grams over the US. We integrate our services, U-space services, inside the ground control station developed by Honeywell from the Pipistrel Nuva. And we integrate also the software from Telespazio, the drones, that is a fleet manager, inside our platform, the USS platform. U-space services, of course, we test the 4 mandatory regarding the regulation 664, so awareness, flight authorization, network identification, and the traffic, of course, and also the conformance monitoring that we test, and I agree with my Spanish colleagues, is very important service that collect of the information for the other ones. Additional service is a typical service developed in Italy. This is the YAM Coordination Center, but we can talk later. It's a sort of bridge between the unmanned board and the manned board in controlled airspace. Okay, I want to present just the key elements of our cluster, divided, of course, the first one is the validation demonstration of U-space services. I know that most of us understand and know which are the main services. We are talking about the GEO-awareness that provides static and dynamic geographical information. So we are talking about NOTAMs, for example, no-flight zone. The flight authorization that manages submission, the U-plan, all the evaluation and approval of flight requests inside a U-space airspace. The network IDs that, of course, share the position and the identification in a U-space airspace, and the tracking information that is a collector of different information. The one coming from the network ID, so from the unmanned part, and other information coming from the manned part. So we need the ADS-B antenna, we need the surveillance, and when, of course, is requested also the data from drone detection service, for example. And at least we have the conformance monitoring that provide real-time alerting of non-conformance, of course, gathering all the information from the other services. Here we can see on the left what we conduct in the Milan sandbox. So we have the sandbox, the volumes on the sandbox. we can see the UTM box over UAS and other kind of operation like the agricultural ones. Second elements, and this maybe is the most important because it was the first time in Europe, we create two different U-space airspace managed by the CIS platform, of course, of the flight, but manage each U-space airspace managed by different U-space service providers. So one from Italy, the USS, and one from Spain, Dalia. And okay, the shape of the volumes are in honor of U-ELCOME or U-space is the same. Okay, and was provided also the exchange of network identification service because we are talking about two adjacent volumes. So of course, in Spanish U-space, I can see the trucks in the Italian U-space and vice versa. And in this case, we were in the Fucino Space Center from Telespazio, and we test also the dynamic airspace reconfiguration. So we analyze and we study the propagation of this kind of notification for all the stakeholders. So from the CIS platform to the USSP platform and the end user that were the US operator and the pilots, of course. Third element, of course, was the integration of the U-space services not only in the USSP platform, but directly in other software or hardware or technology. So we integrate, for example, the service for geoawareness network identification and flight authorization from the USS, integrated directly in the GCS from Honeywell. And this was very important and fundamental for the flight test of the NUVA, that we can see this big boy of 1,500 kilos UAV behind all these people, and was a very, let me say, challenging test, thanks also to Honeywell. We can see the flight authorization both in the flight and both in the ground control station of Honeywell. We see something very similar for Telespazio, where the service of the network identification service, for example, was exchanged thanks to their platform of fleet management. So the position, the identification of their drones was sent directly in the DUSS platform. So last one, and I don't want to be more to give you more details because we have a table after with interesting discussion with my colleagues Alberto regarding the Young Coordination Center. Is a sort of peculiar organization of our cluster. So the Innovative Air Mobility Coordination Center is responsible for coordinating dialogue between US operation and air traffic services. We know that it's step-by-step approach because we know that in a possible future we can have a lot of operation, of course, a lot of use space, and it's not enough to be managed by a human in the loop. But for now, we start from something, and we start from the Young Coordination Center. Very simple words, if a US operator needs to do a flight authorization in a controlled airspace, we are talking about controlled airspace, ask the permission to the Young Coordination Center. That is a sort of bridge between the ATC and US operator. And this is not only used in U-space airspace, but is also used outside the U-space airspace. This kind of services is widespread all along, along Italy. If you need, of course, more information, just wait maybe some minutes because in the next session we have a technical demonstration with Spanish colleague David and Vincenzo from the flight that you can see a live demo. But also you can ask also other questions to our desk outside. And if Giovanni has some final words for his administration of the cluster, please.
Yes, in quality of a leader, I have to thank very much to every men and women that participate to Italian cluster in these 3 years. Here we have many representatives from ENAV, from the flight, from TechnoSky, TopView, from CIRA, EuroUSC, NAIS, SEA, and if I forgot some name, please forgive me, but it's very good to see that these people are here to celebrate this success, let me say, because it's the first TRL8, I think, in the story of SESAR for demonstrator projects. And I want to say thank you very much also for Eurocontrol for coordination and SESAR Joint Undertaking at CINEA for founding what you said today. Thank you very much.
I don't know if they need some time to setting the live demo.
So can you deliver right away? Yeah.
You will put the computer here, but hi. Sorry, because we're doing some technical changes here. Thank you to all of you coming here to this event. For this brief exercise, what we're going to show you is one of the main, or a demonstration of one of the main accomplishments of this U-ELCOME project, which is the successful integration of foreign USSP, which in this case is the Italian D-Flight USSP, within our ecosystem in Spain. In order to do so, this will be a live demonstration. It will be brief, so don't worry. Even if it's a live demonstration, it will be with simulated drones, which it doesn't mean that it's not going to be or be similar to one of the real operations that we've been doing in the project. In particular, the one that was presented by my colleagues before lunch, that is the Expo convention. So this is basically a demonstration of that real operation. And well, the agenda of this exercise is, as I said, short, but it shows all the advantages of this kind of integration. So to start off, first of all, my colleague Vincenzo will create a flight plan using the flight, so that all you can see step by step how a flight plan is created by a drone operator wanting to fly. Then afterwards we will show a little bit of the information exchange module that my colleagues talked before, which will show how the flight plans are exchanged between the different USSPs. And also on the final stage of the presentation is to show the simultaneous operations taking place for all the USSPs, which in this case are these four, the flight as the Italian one, and then the other three are Enaire, Dalia, and Aslogic, which are the ones participating in U-ELCOME, as we explained before. Since most of it was already presented by my colleagues, I will not take too long to explain this, but just as a reminder of the architecture that we are presenting as Enaire for our ecosystem for U-space in Spain. This is the way that the information is shared among the different USSPs, and this is basically what you will see represented through this demonstration. So Vincenzo will now create a flight plan using the D-Flight USSP, and then that flight plan will reach the other USSPs through this information exchange module. And similarly, once we start sending the telemetry for the drones, that telemetry will also be exchanged
in between USSPs through that information exchange module. So it is important to remark that following this architecture, the communication between the USSPs is not direct between them, but the integration is done through this module that is basically orchestrating everything and exchanging the information. So this first step, and with this I finished the small presentation previous to the exercise itself. I will share the floor with Vincenzo, and he will show how to create the flight plan.
Thank you, David. Demo effect.
Working?
No.
Ah. Là, vous êtes sur le click share. Oui, l'application, voilà. But the schema isn't...
It's
It was not working.
That's curious. It's always working. Definitely. It's not working, so...
Let me check with that one.
Okay, as we are solving, oh, there we go. We had one question on Slido otherwise. But
Sorry for the little technical problem. I'm Vincenzo Di Maro from Operation and Engineering the Flight. Today I'm going to demonstrate the uses in a multiple USSP environment of the Flight USSP platform. The flight platform has been developed and released in the 2024 and certified in the December of the same year. The platform provides the 4 mandatory services that characterize a U-space service provider. As previously stated by my Spanish colleague David, the demo aims to demonstrate the system ability to interoperate in geo-awareness, flight authorization, and network ID service domains. In other words, we are working in a multi-USSP environment in which the flight is one of the 4 participating USSP. So we have created the interoperability between Italian USP and Spanish CSP in agreement with the regulation and with the aim of U-space that will be an open market. As the application show, is the main page of USSP, the flight application. As we can see, the USSP platform show in green the U-space area created in Ocaña, near Madrid. It has been created for demonstration purposes using an ÉALÚ-AER CSP application. Now I'm going to perform the action required of a UAS operator to insert a flight authorization request through the Italian USSP platform. This will then be shared with an ÉALÚ CISP, just as Ocaña U-space was shared by an ÉALÚ CISP. So, first step is to access to the flight creation window and choose the open category, operation category and mission type. So in this case, I choose an open operation category and an open mission type. Then the US operators need to select the drone that will engage in the mission, and it has been chosen from the fleet managed by the platform. In this case, I use the drone one. In the next page of flight authorization creation window, we need to specify a valid mission name. In this case, I will use flight plan 01. Then is required to select the U-space for which the flight authorization is asked for. For the demo purposes, we can only find in the list the Ocagna U-space space that has been created for the demo purposes. Then we need to specify a valid, to specify properly start and time of a flight we'll be doing. Finally, the last step consists of specifying the area in which the flight will be done. In this case, instead of drawing directly the flight area on the map, I'm using the import function in HTML format from a mission area previously created for these purposes. Okay, the system informs the US operator of the presence of an intersection between the entered flight area and Ocagna U-space surface. The operator must acknowledge the system warning. Now we are ready to save the mission in the system, and once the mission has been saved in the system, it will be available in ÉALÚ-AER SSP.
Sorry, because we are testing the equipment of the of the room. We have to do a few changes for the presentation. So yeah, okay, now it's working. Just to as a remark, and so people are sure of what they are seeing now. Let me explain how we have changed from the USSP window that was showing Vincenzo, which is the system used by the drone operators to create their flight plans. Now we have switched to what we call the Audi in ÉALÚ-AER, which is a digital interface for the authorities to consult and monitor the operations happening within their jurisdiction area. So in this case, as you can see here on the list, we have a few flight plans between the filter of time that we've set up here. One of them is the one that Vincenzo just created, as you can see here, that is in accepted status, and that we will change to active anytime now. And also we have previously created other flight plans from the rest of the USSPs, such as CINEA, Dahlia, and ASLogic. This is just a graphical representation of what I talked about before, and that is the information exchange module, which allows each USSP to know exactly which areas of airspace are being shown by are being used by other operators, and in case there is a strategic confliction, to perform some actions so that no flight plans overlap between them. So if you allow me to show you, for example, the flight plan that we submitted for ÉALÚ-AER, for example, is this view over here that you will also see then during the traffic information window. Here the authority can see where the drone is going to fly, and also who's flying the drone, which operator, what is the time schedule of the flight, and so on. And this is similarly, they can see ÉALÚ-AER's flight plan, they can see ASLogic flight plan, and they can also see ITG flight plan, which are those that are previously created. And if we look at the Italian flight plan, which is this one over here, if you click on see more, the window will load and show the flight plan that Vincenzo showed during the previous steps. So apart from the authority being able to look at these flight plans, each USSP can also use the information that it receives from the exchange module, not directly from other USSPs, to perform the strategic deconfliction. So I don't know if we're ready to, let me, yes, okay. We're ready to show the next step of this demonstration, which is what we call the traffic information window, which is what you see over here, okay? So apart from flight plans being exchanged by the information exchange module, network ID or telemetry for each drone is also exchanged by each, through the exchange module by each USSP. So as you see here, for example, this is ASLogic's drone flying within its area of operation. You can also see the ITG flying within its area of operation, and also the ÉALÚ-1 flying within its area of operation. I'm not sure if Italia is sending, or Italy is sending the telemetry. Let me load the page. So there's one missing, but it is there, so don't worry about it. Give me 1 second to see if it appears on screen. As a remark, this is obviously not real drones flying, but the representation of the drones is similar to what an authority would see if a real drone was flying. There's no difference in that, only that instead of having one pilot flying the real drone, we are having several people launching simulators at the same time, so the traffic is coming in at different times. Okay, so well, let me use the backup plan instead of taking here too long to see the 4 drones flying. Let me show the backup plan, which is this small video here at this moment. Yeah, okay, we have it. All right, so let me see if now we can see it. Yeah, there you go. It took longer than expected, but I said it was going to be a brief exercise. It's not as brief as I thought, but it will end soon, I promise. Okay, so as I said, this is the Italian flight in real time, that it was the one missing. So if we click on all of them at the same time, you will see that each flight plan has been submitted by 4 different USSPs, and that they don't have any intersection between them, also thanks to the service, to the strategic deconfliction service as well. And then as a final step, we will show again in the flight screen. I hope the screen switch works this time. I will show how this exact same picture is also visible on the flight USSPs and the rest of the USSPs as well.
I don't know why.
Oh yeah, no, it's not connected. So should no, it's connected.
Okay. Okay, now we can see on the flight platform the 4 tracks coming from the different USP. In green, there is in green the Italian track, and the green color means that the drone fly it's in conformance respect the flying plan of flight authorization. And the other one tracks coming from Dalia USP, in either USP as a logic USP. So with this we had the ability to demonstrate the interoperability on network ID service through 4USP platform.
Yes, there's not going to be a computer change now, so you can. Okay, so as well as showing the flight USSP, we can also show the rest of the USSP showing pretty much the same information. As you can see here, this is Dalia USSP. If we zoom in Ocaña's site, you can also see pretty much the same information, which means that this USSP can also see the information for the flights. Now, let me do a quick change here. We have as logic USSP as well showing here. You can see how in this case, the particularity of these USSPs that they have a 4D or a 3D geometry view in which you can see the trajectories of the drones flying in real time as well. And let me show finally the, I don't know, I think it closed. What? Now there's going to be a computer change. Sorry. See. Yes, this is an AIDA USSP, with a lot of alerts, by the way. But well, here the particular feature of this USSP is that you might be wondering why there's only 3 drones flying and why ITG drone is not appearing. It is not an error. It is intentional, and it is because in this case our USSP has a feature that only shows those drones flying within the nearby distance. Okay, so that's why you're only seeing those 2 which are flying closer to an IRIS USSP. And now to summarize and end the presentation, I will go back to the Audi or authority interface view, and will finalize by saying that this is again one of the main accomplishments or achievements of this project, since it has allowed the Italian USSP, a foreign USSP, to interoperate with Spanish USSPs, and it proves that the architecture and the exchange module that we are presenting is working for this type of operations, and that it also presents an advantage in terms of development as well, because it doesn't require all USSP to make a development between them, but it only requires each USSP to connect to our information exchange module, and then that's it. So thank you for your attention. Sorry for all the technical problems, and I hope you liked this project and this achievement that we've done. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We're a very cheerful audience, so I would like us to give them another round of applause because they've been very brave to put out a live demonstration and changing laptops 10 times. So congratulations. So thank you. Good news is that we have a few minutes for questions, and we do have questions that came into the Slido app. We put the Q&A, the QR code, sorry, here again. So picking on questions that have been filtered through the system in the past few minutes, I have one which is addressed to the Italian cluster. That sounds easy, but we'll see if the answer is easy. How is U-Hub defined? Does anyone have a question or an answer to that question? Italian cluster. So how is U-Hub defined? It's one of the questions addressed through Slido. Oh, Spain, sorry.
Yes, the concept U-Hub is from our cluster because it's the name of the platform, the centralized platform that we have put it. So it's not a general term, U-Hub, okay, it's from our cluster. And it's how we have defined this centralized platform that has different modules. One of them, well, it has 3 different modules. One of them is for providing common information service. Is the module that we are now in ÉALÚ-AER under certification process for certifying a CISP, no, a SIS provider. But we have another 2 different modules. One of them is the information exchange module, that is for exchanging information between USSPs in an indirect way. This means not communication directly between USSPs, but through this module. And it's important to note here that the responsibilities of these 2 modules are totally separated. Okay. Also is nowadays included in the same platform, but the responsibilities are different. Okay. And we have a 3rd module, that is Audi module, that is this interface created for authorities and air traffic controller to interact with U-space airspace, and the responsibilities are totally different too.
Thank you very much for clarifying. Was the remote ID mandatory for each demonstration flight? If not, then why? And that question is from Laurie Crean in the room. So was the remote ID mandatory for each demonstration flight? If not, why?
I replied in the chat.
Oh, okay, sorry.
What is mandatory is the network remote ID. The direct remote ID is as well mandatory, but for other purposes. In U-space is the network remote ID, the technique to be used. We tried, so it was mandatory. We used several techniques. One is the hook-on device. So the device is like Policino that we attach on the drone and we flow the operation. We also had some interoperability with other ground control stations, so integrating the drones to have a drone enabled to provide network remote ID to U-space service provider. And of course, the direct remote ID is another way to do it. So I know that there are, for small use spaces, a possibility to have antennas collecting the direct remote ID and use it without having an additional device as a network remote ID, but using the bridge, no, of the possibility to collect the direct remote ID by antenna to use it. But we didn't use this technique so far in our demonstration.
Well, it's not integrated into space, the direct remote ID, as Luigi mentioned, but it's mandatory because the operation in U-space is under 947, and the 947 obliges to have the direct remote ID, so by itself. So it's something that it's in place already.
Thank you. So that definitely answers the question. Here, Vim actors say that U-space demos show great progress in risk management. How will dynamic ground risks to citizens be addressed in future implementation? Is it something that was integrated in any of the projects?
It's not integrated information in this project, but it's considered for future projects.
Thank you.
Yes, with U-ELCOME, we're much more focused on the application of the state of the art. So we have the SORA process that is based on more static data and performing in some way. But we are as well involved in other projects, also presented today here in the lobby. So that where, of course, this capability is promising, no? To have a more dynamic usage of the authorization process. So that's the future.
Thank you, Sue.
Be tuned.
An area to look up to. Thank you very much. How do you monitor the exact drone position in airspace? So what is the underlying technology? Who wants to answer that question?
Thanks to the network remote identification. So we have devices that is leveraging the satellite services, for the GNSS services, and of course the exact, it's in quotes, so exact for the purpose. Of course, we know that there are some uncertainty into the system, and of course the overall system have to be tuned in order to accept as exact position of the drone for the purpose. That's a more generic reply to this.
Thank you.
Just to complete, I think more than this question, what is very important is what is the separation between two objects, and we don't have yet standard for that. And what is the future, which is the tracking of a drone. And you know that the different drone can be tracked depending of the drone you have, completely different. So I think it is also what we have also to look for. It is this tracking part.
So for further research, I mean, that links back to the first questions this morning. Anything to add on the Spanish cluster side on this? You're good? Perfect. Back to U-Hub. So there is a question asking whether U-Hub belongs to CISP or to USSP or both. So I think here we need a little bit more clarification on what it entails.
U-Hub belongs to ÉALÚ-AER. Belongs to ÉALÚ-AER, and as Rodrigo has said, has different responsibilities. So it's segregated between the CISP information, the professional CISP, and then the exchange module and the Audi module. So the responsibilities are divided inside ÉALÚ-AER for every function.
Thank you. I think that's a very clear and straightforward answer.